Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us and taking some time out of your busy schedule to lean in and learn a little bit more about leadership. We're excited to get to share with you today on the idea of delegation. So as a leader, as a manager, as anyone in any sector of life, it's a valuable tool, capacity, characteristic that helps leaders really thrive, but even more so, it's really intricate and vital for mentoring and raising up people under you in whatever area of life where your influence is being brought to bear on others, and particularly for us in the faith. It's one of the main tools we have really for discipling, and those of us here at the Well, for living missionally in loving others into deeper levels of relationship with God. So there's a little verse found in Acts chapter 14, and we're going to be looking at verses just 21 to 23, and it's in the life of Paul. So after preaching the good news, the gospel in Derbe and making many disciples, Paul and Barnabas returned to Lystra, Iconium, and Antioch of Pisidia, where they strengthened the believers. They encouraged them to continue in the faith. They reminded them that there was going to be all kinds of suffering and hardships in order to enter the kingdom of God. Paul and Barnabas also appointed elders in every church, and with prayer and fasting, they turned them over to the care of the Lord, in whom they placed their trust. So what's happening here is Paul and Barnabas are turning over the mantle of leadership and responsibility for these young fledgling congregation, these church startups, these launches, to local people at the church, and facilitate not just leadership and directing these young congregations, but to really take over the role of discipling and evangelizing their communities, and really making sure that the entire church body around the Mediterranean basin was being built up in the faith in every way. And the key way that they did that was by delegating, by turning over their leadership, by turning over those responsibilities to other people who would be able to facilitate those roles. In John Maxwell's classic 21 Laws of Leadership, one of the laws he has is the law of empowerment. And that's really what it talks about. In fact, you can't read a leadership book and not find this idea of delegating, not find the idea of giving opportunity, giving authority, giving projects, giving things away. Too many people think incorrectly that delegation is really about getting things you don't want to do off your plate, that taking the menial things, the hard things, the things that you consider time killers or that are just frustrating for you, and getting rid of them. But here's what I want you to see. Leadership is never about enlarging or enriching yourself or getting to take it easy. It's always about enlarging, enriching, empowering someone else. Our role as leaders is to grow the people under us into better leaders, better managers, making sure that they have the training, the resources, the tools to really be able to succeed and thrive and do the things, accomplish the things, succeed in the areas, grow into the spaces that are going to be meaning for them. So only as you begin, the only way you can do that, the only way you're going to see people really reach their own full potential is by you delegating, by you empowering them, by you creating opportunities for them to step into spaces that they may otherwise be intimidated, that they may otherwise not have had afforded to them. But as a leader, as you create those spaces, they're going to have opportunities to thrive. Theodore Roosevelt said this. He said, "The best executive is the one who has the sense enough to pick good men, and of course that's in no particular gender-specific way, to do what needs to be done, and enough self-restraint to keep from meddling with them while they're trying to do it. So an important thing to remember about delegation is that oftentimes when you give an opportunity, when you give a task or a responsibility to someone else, they're not going to do it exactly the way you have been doing it. They're not going to do it exactly the way you would maybe think was the best way to do it. And you have to create space for people to learn and grow. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to give them coaching. That doesn't mean you're not going to give them the wisdom of your experiences. But you're still going to create space to allow them to sort of learn and grow, and even from time to time make mistakes and fail along the way, because that's how you learned, that's how I learned. Ultimately, that's how they're going to learn. So John Maxwell said this. He said, the truth is that if you give some of your power away to others, there's still plenty to go around. In other words, authority, power, responsibility is not something that is finite in our lives, in our organizations, in our groups, on our teams. It's not like if we give away 40% of our responsibilities that we're going to have less responsibility, because at the end of the day, if you're the leader, you're still responsible to make sure they get done. So you're not really losing anything. Actually, what you're doing is, and we're going to see this later, you're going to be gaining something by doing that. So we have to be willing to delegate. We have to be willing to give responsibilities away, even the responsibilities that we like, even the opportunities that we were looking forward to. And the more we're able to do that to people who are in a growing trajectory. A lot of times I'll tell my team, anytime someone can do something at 70% and climbing of what you're capable of, you should give it to them, which means as you give responsibilities, as you give opportunities away, sometimes there'll be a brief decline in continuity or consistency or quality or something like that. But you're going to help coach that person up to get it back to the level that you had it at. And oftentimes they're going to surprise you. They're going to be able to exceed even your expectations, even your hopes, even what you were doing. And when that happens, this is my second thing, it's really, really important that with delegation, you're giving away credit. You're giving credit where credit is due. So when you've got someone on your team who's doing something, make sure you're acknowledging them. When you've got someone in your group that is taking care of something, or they're stepping into a new area of responsibility, make sure that you're their chief cheerleader, you're championing them to the people above you, to the people beside you, to the people under you. Make sure that you're backing their play. If they're going to put themselves out there and take risks, you want to make sure that you've always got their back. Mark Twain said this. He said, great things happen when people don't care who get the credit. And that's what you're going to find. You're going to find it on your teams. You're going to find it in your groups. You're going to find it at work. You're going to find it in your family. No matter where it is you find yourself, where your influence is, you're going to find that the more that you create opportunities for other people and give them praise and credit, that just the level, the caliber of everything goes up. The caliber of your team is going to go up. The caliber of people who want to be on your team are going to go up. The capacity of your team or your group or your family is going to go up as you're able to give things away. And again, John Maxwell said this. He said, greater things happen only when you give others the credit. So the best things happen when you're the one saying, so-and-so did that and so-and-so did that, and I got that from her. And what happens is that doesn't strip away people's view of you or your capacity. It actually enhances it. And that's really where all of this is going. Because with delegation, not only are you going to exponentially increase your team, your group, your family's capacity, but you're actually going to grow your own capacity. Because as you begin to delegate some of those responsibilities, and you take the time to spin someone up, to spin a process up that someone else can manage, what you're going to find is that you have got extra time, extra capacity on your hands for you to be able to learn new things, for you to be able to take on new challenges that you previously couldn't, for you to be able to kind of step back and get a little bit wider vision of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish and see some of those things. And when you're not so busy in the day-to-day details of whatever it is you're working on, you'll have a better opportunity working on the whole thing. And that's what we need as leaders, because we want to continue to be growing all the time in our faith, in our career, in our leadership, so that we can continue to have these growing, aspiring disciples and leaders who are coming up behind us. We have to continue to grow in order to be able to coach and train and teach. And you'll be amazed at how that creates new opportunity for you. So great leaders understand that you actually gain authority by giving it away. You actually gain opportunity by giving opportunity away. The law of reciprocity in Scripture that says you reap what you sow is really a universal truth. You could apply it to any area of your life, that the more time you're willing to invest in other people, you will find more time on your hand to be able to also invest in yourself, because you've got other people who you trust, who you can lean on, who you've taught them the core competencies that you need. You've given them the processes for consistent excellence in those different areas of your life. And so enlarging others, empowering others always will enlarge you, always will empower you. Now, it is important, again, that we have the right motivation, right? So one of the first things we said was, you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for them. But the reality is it will create something for you. So it's a hard process, training people, developing people, discipling people will always take more time than just doing it yourself. But in the long term, you're going to buy more time, talent, opportunity for your team. So make sure as you're looking at your group, make sure as you're looking at your team, make sure as you're looking at your family and your community and wherever it is you're standing, that you're thinking about all of those people, where they are in their developmental cycle, and you're helping them take a step by giving them some of the things that you do, creating some of the opportunities that you were afforded, and giving them the space and the tools and the resources to succeed. Well, that's our principle for today. Thanks for taking a couple minutes to just listen and think about biblical leadership with us. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us anytime here at the church. My email is jerry@cometothewell.org. The number here is 630-262-1083. And I trust that you sense God at work in your life and in all your areas of ministry, and that as you begin to entrust and empower, just like Paul did, just like Barnabas did, with these fledgling churches, these things that were so divinely and eternally important, and at such a frail state, they were still willing to entrust them to other people. You can do the same thing because the Lord is watching over them.